Welcome back to the Back Post podcast. It's business as usual. Arsenal have won, Chelsea have drawn, and Spurs have lost.
Notice how I'm not repping Spurs.
No, you haven't even got a Christmas jumper.
No, very somber.
Look at this.
I'm absolutely sick of it.
That's ruined your Christmas spirit.
I'm a neutral football fan this week, and I'm going to enjoy my place as a neutral football fan. Spurs, we don't need to talk about them. So Arsenal and Chelsea.
Angry Seb.
I know. I'm an angry little man, but...
Yeah. You had a good trip to Newcastle?
I did. I had a lovely time. It was nice, like Christmas market started about. It's cool ground, lovely view, like an FM save kind of vibe. It was cool. And obviously good limbs, and it's better to come back from 2-0 than to be 2-0 up and then throw it away.
So we've both done Newcastle away this season. We've both come back from behind, and we've both drawn 2-2.
Yeah.
That's class.
And I didn't go there, but Arsenal came from behind and won.
It's just true fans versus an armchair fan, really, isn't it? So at the end of the day, who is the real winner, I'd argue. There you go.
But before we get into our own clubs, we're going to talk about Manchester United. Played yesterday, the only Sunday game.
Yeah, that was nonsense, by the way.
What, are the only
2
Sunday
8
game?
p.m. Saturdays, only
It
one
was because
Sunday.
they got moved
They need to
sort
the scheduling the last few weeks, honestly.
Oh my God.
I would normally agree this one was a bit of a one-off, just because of Palace. It had to be rescheduled. So
There was one of those games could have been played then.
Well, Palace's could have been. Because ultimately they moved it. They still played twice in a couple of days.
Yeah, they'd have had a 2-day gap.
Leeds.
They'd have had a 2-day gap either side, either way.
But they prioritised the Leeds game and the Arsenal game. Well, for some reason, they've really prioritised the Arsenal game. They wanted a bigger gap for the Arsenal game.
It's a cup quarter final. Why would they
They're
not?
probably looking at going, we've got enough games in Europa. We'll qualify anyway. This is a one-off quarter final.
Yeah,
exactly. Yeah,
but Manchester United, trouble. How much trouble?
Big trouble.
Big trouble.
I mean, it's difficult,
I don't think they're that bad.
They're not that bad. But this is the thing. I keep thinking they're not that bad. And you're seeing stats like they've won 13 games in 2025, which is just over a game a month that they've won. I mean, Amorim seems to space out his wins really well as well. So it's like, is he going to get sacked? No, he's not going to get sacked because he's just won a game. Or are they back? But they played well yesterday, I thought. They weren't brilliant or anything, but I did think they were probably the more progressive side.
Not to get something from it.
Yeah, and obviously Villa, again,
this is just what Villa do.
With their wonder goals. I'm loving it at the moment, to be honest. You know, if you tune into Villa each week, you know that it's going to be a pretty end-to-end game. You know that they're going to score a couple of bangers, and you know that they're probably going to win.
And Rodgers will probably play very well.
Yeah, and he's an absolute joy to watch. But United I think the thing with United now is 2 of their best players at AFCON in Ahmad and Mbuemo.
Yeah.
Mainu seemingly out of the picture still.
Yeah.
Bruno Fernandes injured. For their game on the 27th, they've got Newcastle, I believe they're playing. They're going to have a midfielder, Casemiro and Ugarte, probably. Maybe listen to Martinez.
Well, he was better.
Yeah,
than
he
Ugarte.
Was. Well, I think I'd be better than Ugarte, like, genuinely.
Yeah.
He's one of the worst footballers.
He's not a footballer, really, is he?
It's baffling.
I know Shinkicker gets thrown around a lot of midfielders. He actually is.
Did you see that one when he tried to play a crossfield ball? And he just went out for a goal kick and it was just like not even remotely.
Did you see there was a Luis Enrique quote, like when he was at PSG, where they said, Ugarte was on the bench or something like that, and he was like, I thought he played a really good game. He didn't give away any fouls or something, or something like that.
Was that a real quote?
Yeah, I think
it might have been. Yeah.
I don't know. I saw it, so I'm going with it.
Yeah, it's actually mad that he's managed to have a career where he's played at PSG and Man United.
Whoever did that piece of scouting for PSG, given the fact they've went and got Vitinha, Fabian Ruiz.
In the space of a year, he'd have done 60 million there, 40 million to United. So he's done 100 million worth of transfers in a year.
Sometimes life is just unfair, and the fact that he's had that career for himself is unfair, objectively. Like he did not deserve that, and he's got it. And I think he's going to be starting next to Casemiro at Newcastle. Well, against Newcastle.
Is that Boxing Day? Boxing Day night?
Yeah, it's the only game on Boxing Day, which I'm actually could be a good game but they'll probably have Dalot next. That like 4 in the 3-4-3 is going to be Dalot, Dorgu, Casemiro, Ugarte.
Yeah. Well, they've lost Mazraoui to AFCON as well.
Yeah. So is that the worst
midfield 4?
Midfield 4 you've ever seen in the Prem?
For United, it could be.
It's up there, genuinely. I mean, they used to have like Antonio Valencia, Patrice Evra, all these flying wing backs.
But even in like recent struggling years, you'd still have McTominay dotted about.
Yeah.
It's kind of better than what they're
Well, they even normally, like with Bruno, Kobe Mainu, like they do have talented players in midfield. They just, it's just...
That's worrying as well. Bruno, pretty much his first injury in the Premier League.
I don't know what they were doing. He had this hamstring trouble and he just played through it for no reason.
Do you know what I think it is? I think he may not have known what hamstring... He's had so few injuries in his career. I think he might not have known what a pulled hammy feels like.
He's probably played through a lot.
He probably has played through things
Yeah.
before, and obviously he's not an explosive player, but losing him, and it's not even just. Listen, I know I sat here and called him overrated. I still think he's United's best player. People didn't quite understand the nuance there, but I still think he's also a player that in moments like this where they've lost players, the free kick that he scored the other day, he'll find moments, he'll drag them, and now you haven't got him either. I look at that, like, who's the leader? Harry Maguire still isn't back.
The amount of games that he's dragged them through the last 4 years is like disgusting.
And the thing is, right now they're in 7th, which still we're kind of going, well, it's not too bad. They're in 7th, which is a damning indictment of where United are at the moment.
Manchester United.
But because of how scrunched up the middle of the table is, you're a couple of games away from being 12th, 13th.
Yeah,
but all 4th.
And then the pressure's back
as
up.
I would know, you know,
As you would know.
But I think if they were to win against Newcastle, they'd be like 7 points or 5 or 7 points clear of Newcastle.
Yeah, I mean Newcastle and Spurs are the two that are kind of down in 12th and 13th, kind of propping up the rest of the table at this point, and the rest of that sort of European race. And I do, like I said, United in general, I think have been all right this season. Like, I genuinely think they've been their performance level. They've been quite unlucky in a couple of games. Like, I thought they were unlucky yesterday to not come away from the game with at least a point.
They're undoubtedly better than they were last season under Amorim.
Yeah,
but they've got more players that are at the level that they should be. Mateus Cunha, good goal yesterday. I think he's had a little bit of a rough start in terms of the goal scoring, but
he's
the
just
performance
dangerous
levels
though.
have been there.
He's a threat. I like
and
him.
Buemo the same. I think Mason Mount, when he's at his best, is a good enough level. I think even the defence, to a degree, is good enough when they've got De Ligt, even Harry Maguire. But overall, you are still looking at a team that feasibly isn't going to finish in a European spot this season.
Yeah.
Amorim, like you said, against the bigger teams has managed to get results, but the second that the onus is more on United to be on the front foot in a game, they still have those problems.
Yeah.
And but then you look at, what do? Do you get rid of Amorim? And you go again with another manager.
It's because
with
they've
a
done that
different
so many
system.
times that there's a fear to do it. But at the end of the day, it does feel like you're pissing in the wind a little bit, doesn't it? Like a bit like you just touched on there in terms of when they have the ball, that's a problem. There's a ceiling on you as a side if that's the case. You're not going to be able to counter every team. That's just not how it works.
Yeah.
No. And
I think the way forward for them is instead of hiring the manager that they think can take them somewhere and building a squad for the manager, build a squad that you think can take you somewhere that is roughly built for the majority of managers.
Yeah.
Yeah, then you have
And
a
then
Zidane
you
or someone
find-
just plug and play.
Not even a
like,
Zidane
you know what I mean?
necessarily, but even what Chelsea have done with Maresca. I don't think the long-term ambition is for Maresca to be the trophy-winning manager. I know he's won a couple, but I feel like you're building a squad, and Maresca doesn't have much of a say in that, so that you can sack Maresca and continue on the same trajectory that you're on with the squad.
To be fair, I think most clubs that is, and look, Guardiola might be a bit of an exception, but in general, you just want a team that will work whatever you kind of do with it because
It's a
the
dangerous
team's so
game
great.
to play though, because managers are so important at football clubs. And if it's like Nuno at Forest this summer, it's what they tried to do, and look how their starts to the season went. I know they've now settled on Dyche and they do have a very good squad for it, but it can also, with the amount of power that managers want these days over the transfer window.
Yeah, but at least at Forest, again, it's, you've got a back four, you've got 3-4 midfielders where one's you've got a more Gibbs White as much as a Sangare. You got 2 wingers. You got a couple of. Do you know what? Like most managers could come into that team and go,
do a
okay, I've
decent
got
job.
wingers, I've got midfielders. Whereas United, it's like they don't effectively have a left winger.
But I think they did that better this summer. Like, I know they still sign players for their system, but Buemo and Cunha are players that can.
Yeah, you're not
kind of
looking
fit
at the
into
signings
anything.
as a problem.
Yeah, I think there has to be obviously a happy balance. Like, I feel like a manager has to, if you're going to get a manager, especially in a club like United, they've got to have some say over which players they get.
No, of course.
Otherwise, you could end up ruining a project by getting players that don't fit the manager's philosophy, etc. But it should be, the club should have final say. If the manager comes to them with a player that they're desperate for, like with Ten Hag, he used to sort of go, I want this player, and United seem to just
I want
oblige.
Antony.
I will
Give
spend,
me Antony.
yeah, literally whatever money you want on them. They spent like 4 players from Ajax in one summer. But I think it should be a case of collaborative, but then club take the final decision on whether they actually want to pull the trigger for that player. But then obviously the manager should be the one sort of helping to create that list, and then they settle on them. And that's what top clubs have done. Like Liverpool, I think, and Klopp did that brilliantly, where it was always Jurgen Klopp would drive the signings, but obviously they had Edwards, etc., employed who very much knew what they were doing as well.
It's well known that a lot of the better Liverpool signings for Klopp's tenure were not Klopp signings. They were given to him. So
well, that's why I think people underrate the relationship between, obviously you don't see it because it's off the pitch, which is why I don't think it's spoken about, but the relationship between sporting director and manager is one of the most important at a club. And it's like with United, the mess that their hierarchy is still, it's like that obviously has played into it too over the years. And I mean, even you look at Arsenal and sort of Edu and Arteta for so many years, like they seem to be very, very tight knit, and that just led to a smooth process for Arsenal in transfer windows. And it's kind of what Spurs have an issue with at the moment. Is Paratici looks like he's going to Fiorentina, and it's like when a club has major change in those sort of areas, it can disrupt it, especially ahead of January transfer windows. But I think United will probably go out into the January transfer window again and sign a player.
I'm sure they will.
Do you not think?
Well, they're in for
sure they will.
Semenyo, aren't they? They're competing with City.
But that's a great example of where does Semenyo fit? Because Semenyo, the amount of money they're talking about spending on him would have to be a starting player. Where does he fit into that? They signed an entire front three, unless you're putting him at left wing back.
I think Sesko would pop on the bench and Cunha and Buemo sort of
Sesko's overhated.
Rotate a bit up top.
But then
then
no, I agree, but I think that's what would happen. Semenyo and Cunha and Buemo would start over him, I think.
Yeah.
But that's what I'm saying. You're then immediately looking at, okay, so that means last summer you spent 70 million on a striker when you already had a couple of strikers at the club, and you still haven't spent money on central midfield where you are terribly weak. This is where that's not necessarily an Amorim thing, but it's like, I'm not convinced that when Sir Jim Ratcliffe came in and Ineos came in and all of these people that they've poached, they've all come in. I'm yet to see a string of signings where I'm like, you've got a plan.
Yeah.
This makes sense. I'm not getting that vibe.
Well, this is why it wouldn't make sense to go for Semenyo in January for them, because they did the attackers last winter. They signed an entirely new front three that I think, again, can play in a lot of different systems. Like Cunha and Buemo out wide, they can play in a 4-3-3. I know it's not the most natural fit for Cunha on the left, but you have an overlapping fullback, which obviously you normally have with a wing back. But if they are back in Amorim and they're still going along with his system, it's wing backs and it's central midfielders that like have to be the priority.
Yeah, they should be chucking the bag at like a Wharton or something, just going nuts for that. Even if it's impossible to prize them out, like that's what you're expecting,
it's
right?
so blatantly obvious, and like you saw how eager Carlos Baleba was to go to United in the summer. I think with his performances at Brighton, they maybe wouldn't mind selling him in January if they were still going to get a huge price for him and then go and replace him. And it's like if they got a midfielder like that in, that would make sense. Again, a midfielder that can sort of box-to-box midfielder, 6, whatever, they can play in any system really. But it's like, I think that's where they've also struggled, because I think they've struggled to fully commit to going and buying a wing back.
That's what I mean. That's because if you were to fully replicate what Amorim had at Sporting, which he had so much success with, you need an absolute workhorse midfielder, which they don't have.
Yeah.
He had a right-footed left wing back and a left-footed right wing back, which he preferred, who were realistically more winger than defender.
Yeah.
Which is maybe where you could see a Semenyo fit if he really wanted to try that. But to do that, both your right centre back and left, your wide centre backs, they need to be players that are rapid and can cover huge spaces, because you're willing to leave those huge spaces. I don't think he's got either of those. You could maybe Lenny Yoro as the right-sided centre back does it. You don't have the left-sided player to do that. You don't have either of the wing backs that he needs. You don't have the ground covering central midfield that he needs.
It was Ugarte for him.
Yeah, but that can't be.
No, but it was. No, I'm saying it's literally Ugarte was at Sporting Lisbon with Amorim. Like that was what he had.
The system's got to be,
and it's not like
it's got to be leveled up to the level, really, doesn't it? Like, it's an Ugarte profile, just not somebody as bad as him.
It's not Ugarte.
I agree, and I think that it's going to come to a point at the end of this season. I think he'll get this season. I think it will continue to be up and down. I think they probably won't address their issues again in January. And it'll come to a point in the summer where they go, we'll either sack him at the start of the summer, get a new manager in, new signings in for the new manager, give him pre-season. That is the sensible thing to do. Or they fully back up Amorim again for what? Would this be his second summer?
It would be.
I can't see him being there if they don't get Europe, because they've had no Europe this year. If you can't get Europe playing one game a week, you failed.
That's the thing that people forget as well. They have not had anywhere near a schedule this year. They had the full pre-season off because they won at the Club World Cup. They've had one game a week since then, pretty much, outside of cups.
They chucked the League Cup. They chipped the League Cup in.
Mate.
Round 2, they were out the Carling Cup.
Literally Premier League. So they have had. That's how I didn't even factor that into my thinking.
He gets a week on the training ground with them every week.
And they don't look that much better. They don't look like they're improving.
And they don't look more fresh than other teams, really.
No. That is crazy. And again, if it reaches the end of the season and they're still in the same predicament where they still have huge inconsistencies, I think it's going to come a really, really tough decision. I think they need to finish, like you said, outside of any European places to sack him, because I think finishing 7th or above, they might stupidly see as progress. And it would be progress, to be fair. But you give him another summer, and that is so dangerous. So dangerous.
They've been
I just don't
generous
think
with
it's
him.
enough progress
Yeah,
either.
they've been generous with him anyway, I think.
Yeah, I think so. Even if you look at
so.
even if you look at what Ten Hag did in his first season,
Yeah.
a cup and in the Champions League,
Top
like,
4, yeah.
I don't think.
What was Ten Hag? Was Ten Hag like 8th the year after with an FA Cup?
So he got sacked in 8th position, yeah.
Yeah, but and this is where I'm at with Amorim. It's like you either fully commit to replicating what he had at Sporting in terms of you fully commit to give him every player, or you sack it off and you start building a squad that will suit the majority of top level managers. Whereas I feel like they're going halfway. They're they're committed to Ruben Amorim, but not fully committed to Ruben Amorim. But that's going to leave them halfway down a path that they're going to either have to walk all the way back up to the start again, or bring in like a Glasner, who
That's
again,
the thing, I think
Glasner isn't even Amorim. If you actually look at the way Palace play, it's a 3-5, well 3-4-3, whatever it is. It's like the same formation on FIFA, but it is in no way, shape, or form the same.
Amorim wants to dominate the ball, Glasner doesn't. Yeah.
So, and
I think it's just a market that's bereft of top managers, and that is the biggest saving grace for.
I'm
Amorim.
not being funny. I love what Oliver Glasner's done at Palace, but if he gets a top job,
I'm convinced Glasner goes to United. I'm convinced that's where they end up,
because
they go too far down the garden path. Then they're like, we really can't keep Amorim.
And then it'll be Daniel Munoz to United at 30 years of age, and it will be Jeremy Pino to United as well.
It'll be Wharton. Wharton will be the big.
I don't want it.
We're Manchester United. We get the young English player. We know Sir Jim Ratcliffe has an absolute fetish for English players. Like since he came in, that was what he wanted to build the core of his United around England. And English players. You could see it happening.
I don't want it. I think after the World Cup, Tuchel goes there.
Do you reckon?
Yeah. I think they go for a bigger name and someone who shows adaptability with his squads, because they kind of go, right, we've tried all this, imprint the vision of this manager. Let's go to a guy who just suits what he has and go from there.
I think Tuchel and United would be a match made in hell with like how feisty
I
he is.
agree,
with
but
the
I think
ball.
they've sort of tried everything that you've got to try everything again. Like, I just think you have to. I don't know what the idea was, right, we'll bring in Ten Hag and he'll do Ajax 2.0.
Xavi would be fun at United with the way he works with young players, football that he plays. I think he'd be a fun appointment for United. But again, you just look at all of these managers and you're like, do you back any of them to really go in and solve United's problems? Like, are United's problems just bigger than a manager can solve?
But would Tuchel be better than Amorim? Yeah.
Yeah, of course.
Not
even close. Probably.
We'd just get more results.
Yeah, but in terms of long-term progression, I don't know.
No, within 2-3 years,
I really want United to commit to Amorim, because I actually want them to go out and sign a right wing back in the summer
and see what Amorim's football looks like, right?
Proper like DM, and then you can go, right, they've addressed every single issue to a good standard, brought in good players. If they bring in even if they brought in like a Daniel Munoz, if they brought in a Baleba, if they then brought in who's a good left wing back? Like, I don't know. Anybody, any good left wing back.
Funny enough, Liverpool signings, I'd argue, like in Kirkez and Frimpong, soon.
Yeah, it would have been decent actually, getting up and down. I mean, Kirkez is.
But you know what I mean? Like, it sounds like it fits United more than it fits Liverpool.
Frimpong and Kirkez would have made more sense for United than it did for Liverpool. Yeah. I agree with that. But it'd be so fascinating to see what a fully.
Yeah, what's the excuse
funded,
now?
I don't think we'll ever see it. And even at Sporting, it worked. It worked because the majority of the players that he had were top 3 in their position in that league. You know, you had a striker that could bully
all I
have
to do is watch the striker of the 100 goals from that league and know that I can't take Amorim. How seriously can I take?
But mate, he scored a penalty at the weekend.
That's
true.
Unbelievable.
We'll give him a week.
Do you know what I mean? That's kind of how I see it. I'm like, I can't take that seriously, because I can't take that seriously.
Ugarte looked like the best midfielder in the league over there.
Ugarte got 60 million move out there.
Yeah, it's mad. And then you look at the wing backs as well. The wing backs that they played with.
I'm terrified of this Kender guy. He's supposed to be good for us. I'm like, I don't know.
Marcus Edwards played a lot of football there. Can't get a game for Burnley. Like, it is a.
I think overall, if we go back to the question you asked right at the very start, are Man United finished? I don't think the answer is yes. But given what we've just spent 20 minutes talking about, it doesn't look good. It feels and looks like a bit of a chaotic mess.
Yeah.
That there isn't like a light at the end where you go, this is United are progressing to here, and you can see that destination.
Yeah.
There's a lot of, well, it
If,
could be
buts, and
Amorim,
maybes,
but
yeah.
it might not be Amorim, and the squad might be not that good, but they might be good, and
Yeah.
When it's back
we
to,
just
like,
don't know.
even what I was suggesting there, it's you're rehashing stuff they've already done that didn't work.
yeah, you're going back
Because you're like,
to,
they've kind of tried everything.
yeah, going to Tuchel would be like when they brought in Mourinho.
Yeah, yeah.
It's worrying they don't have a clear path, and even if that clear path is like sacking the manager, that might even be more comforting. If it's like, well, we just need to get rid of Amorim and then we'll be okay.
Yeah.
But it doesn't feel like that. It feels like you're right. They're halfway down a path with they can't see the end. They also can't see the beginning anymore. There's no like crossroads. It's just darkness at the minute, I feel like, for them in terms of like a proper final destination. So
Little Red Riding Hood lost in the forest.
Some analogy that, by
And
the
the
way.
Wolves are coming.
Yeah.
I might have lost that game, but Villa actually won that game. They're 10th in all competitions in a row. First time, I think, since 1914. So pretty long time.
Some date that, by the way.
Yeah, crazy. But they're smashing it. And every week we keep thinking, that's not sustainable. It's not
I
sustainable.
love that.
Maybe
I
it is
love this
sustainable.
narrative that has happened. I'm really enjoying this at the moment. The XG beef on Twitter.
XG philosophy is genuinely having like a meltdown.
Villa
every week.
becoming unsustainable FC.
Yeah.
I'm low-key... I don't want them to win the league.
Really?
But it would be funny if unsustainable FC won the league now. Like I would appreciate that more than I think I would.
Why don't you want them to win the league?
Well, because there's this thing with Villa. So me and Villa fans don't have a great history. I called them stale at the start of the season on TikTok.
Which was fair.
And I'm sure a lot of Villa fans are now smiling and commenting about this already. But I thought that was fair at the time. I stand by the fact that it did feel stale at the start of the season. They have done amazingly to turn that around. And maybe I didn't give them the credit they deserved at the time for the situation they were in, whatever. Since then, I just feel like the amount of abuse I would get if Villa actually went on to win the league would be just like unbearable.
Yeah,
So-
but that's
Wouldn't
what
you take that over? You take that over Arsenal,
I would, I'll get.
Yeah, trust me, I'll be
I'd do
abusing it
lots
if we
of
win.
things over Arsenal winning the league. I'll take any sort of abuse, but I think I'd still rather City win it. But I think the thing with Villa is like, it's just fun at the moment. It feels really fun. They're scoring wonder goals each week. They're winning. I love some of their players. Rodgers is a joy to watch. Tielemans, Kamara, Edri Konsa, like that sort of spine of that team, the way that's performing week in, week out at the minute. Scary hours for you lot. I think you're sort of stumbling over the line. Really.
This is where it's where I find it interesting. I mean,
here we go.
when they're not doing it to you, I agree with everything you said about Villa. When it's happening to you in front of your eyes, it's quite frustrating to watch. But
Yes.
yeah, I think it is weird because they had less XG and it's not all about XG, right? But they had fewer opportunities against United than United had.
They were the worst team.
They
on
beat
Sunday. I
them
think
with a
that's
couple of
fair
great
enough to
goals.
say, yeah.
And everyone's like, Villa are looking exciting, all this. Whereas Arsenal dominated the game against Everton, could have scored 3-4 goals in the game, conceded basically 0 chances. And yet everyone comes out of that game and goes, that was close, or Arsenal are stumbling.
Just because of how much it upsets you, really. That's why I do it.
Okay.
I think it's lovely what-
I put the press on and you crumbled.
I think it's lovely what Villa are doing. Like you said, it's like screamer galore every single week. XG to files are in the mud. Like they are crying their eyes out. They're looking at the stats and they're like, it doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense. Look, it says it. No, Villa they're like, we'll just score from 25 yards, thanks.
Yeah.
That's fine. And it has to get to the point now where all the unsustainable stuff is like, but it's been sustained for a long period.
It's like Leicester. It's the exact same chat about Leicester.
And each week, I'm guilty of it as well. We'll kind of sit and go, yeah, but they're not going to win it, are they? So you kind of don't take it too seriously. But there must come a point. Like, what do you reckon? How many wins in a row is it before we'd actually go? You'd go, oh, they're really serious. Like this is genuinely, this could happen. Because I'm still not there. I'm still not there with.
They're not winning the league. I promise.
No,
you that.
I agree, but that's what I'm saying.
Clip that, Villa fans.
Clip that, yeah. That's fine.
Yeah, prove us wrong.
I'd
but
like to see them, and again, like I said, it's really, really fun at the moment. They've got some brilliant players who are going to produce moments of magic, sure. I'd like to see them sort of, especially in games at home, just becoming a little bit more dominant and actually winning games through creating a lot of chances. And I mean, look, if they win the league through scoring screamers every week, fair play. But I don't really think a team has ever actually done that.
I think for me, it's because their next two, I think, is Chelsea away and Arsenal away.
Yeah.
If they go 12 wins in a row,
Beating
I
us.
think at that point,
See, the
because
thing
a
is,
win,
though-
I imagine if they beat us and let's say Arsenal win their game and then they beat Arsenal, they would. In
They go level on
theory,
points
be
with
top.
us. They're 3 points behind us at the moment, so they go level on points. I can't remember if our goal difference is better than theirs.
I think if they had a Christmas like that where they've turned up and they've won both those games away from home, it's time to go. This is on.
I judge Villa less on those kind of games though, which sounds silly, but I think they're so well set up to play teams that want to dominate the ball, and they're so good defensively going forwards on the break. The way Watkins stretches defenders. Sort of Rodgers running into space, Tielemans picking those passes, John McGinn as well, how good he's been. I think they're so well set up to play those sort of teams. I still worry more for like the kind of game where it was Wolves at home, it was 84th minute, sort of screamer from Kamara from outside the box. Those kind of games, and they have been winning them with those.
They have that belief though that they're going to find a moment.
Exactly, and that's the thing. When you get into this rhythm and you know that you're going to find a moment in a game and someone is going to do something special, there's no reason why that can't snowball and carry on into the second half of the season. And they're a good enough team comfortably to be beating the worst sides at home and to be creating a lot more chances than they have been at the start of this year. It's just one of those things where I still just don't think they win enough to keep pace with Arsenal, because I do think that Arsenal also have the players that will create moments against teams that they need to when they're not playing that well, and have a higher ceiling in terms of the actual football they play, personally.
Yeah, I think I would, just noting that you did praise Ollie Watkins there for stretching defenders. But I would say with Villa, they've won 10 in a row.
Who was my overrated player, by the way, for Villa again?
I don't know. I wasn't paying attention.
It was Ollie Watkins.
Fair enough. No, I think with Villa have won 10 in a row. City have won 7 in a row, and Arsenal are still top. And I'm glad about that in the sense that we've stuttered a little bit. We have had a fair few players out injured. We have had tough games, and we're still top despite them having those winning runs. I think with Villa, like you said, if they were able to somehow, well, not even somehow, if they were able to beat us and Chelsea, they may still be a point behind City at that point, but that is the point where you start going, okay, so they've beaten Arsenal home and away.
Like, you've got to take them
in a month as well.
In the space of a
month.
month.
You've got to take them seriously. I think after the Arsenal win, that was when I was like, okay, people need to start discussing them as a serious title contender, because right now they are. There's no reason why they're not.
And the XG thing, like there is. I broadly agree with XG, as in the numbers don't lie. If you track everyone's XG across the season, it roughly lines up.
Yeah.
But there are exceptions. And I read a thing from that XG philosophy thing where he spoke about the couple of exceptions they've had in the past. Sean Dyche's Burnley was one of them, because at the time XG didn't factor in the number of defensive players in the box blocking shots. Right. So teams would have so many shots against them. But actually, once you factored in the fact there are like 10 Burnley players between the shot and the goal, it hadn't factored that in. So they massively overperformed in terms of the XG against relative to the number of goals they conceded. And there was one other, I think it was a Liverpool team, that again massively exceeded XG.
I'm guessing it was probably like Coutinho was there and he can shoot. Because I do think
it wasn't to do with shooting. I can't remember exactly what it was. But ultimately he was saying there have been exceptions to the rule where the model hasn't yet factored in certain things. And I'm like, has the model factored in Morgan Rogers scoring goals from those positions more often than a normal player?
Yeah, well, it's like
no, it doesn't. That's the problem.
The West Ham goal the other day, I think someone said, he scored an X.14. And I looked at the goal, I'm like,
no, it was a 0.02.
Right, 0.02. And you look at it and you go, Rogers could beat the West Ham keeper from there.
Yeah.
Like, that's just not
Areola is stood on one side of the goal. And Morgan Rogers has the ability to do that.
His two goals against United, one was like 0.04 and one was 0.06. So I think if you put Morgan Rogers there 100 times, that's saying he's going to score one less than. I'm like, no, true, he's going to score probably 10, 15.
Quite a few of them,
It's like that El Khabi. Have you seen his overhead kick last night from Morocco? He's got a 4-minute compilation of overhead kicks. And it's like, if he's got an overhead kick in the box, he's probably 20 times more likely to score it than your average striker. And the XG would be exactly the same. So it's like, the XG model is fundamentally flawed, but it does normally give you a good indication. Because, like you say, it levels out. There are always underperformers and overperformers each season, but it's generally quite close to the level that it should be. I think
the eyes never lie, and Villa like scoring bangers. They got players who can score bangers. They also, you could even make the argument. You go, maybe the system's about creating space in those opportunity areas, because they think that modern football's about getting in the box too much and getting your shots in the box, and they're like, well, hang on, why don't we just hit ripping from range a bit? Like, that could be genuinely just part of their tactics.
But that said, devil's advocate, they were stale at the start of the season. I know Villa fans will come back and say, but like, it's a credit to them that they were stale and they've turned it around. So I wouldn't even take it as a negative thing. But they scored one goal in 5 games at the start of the season, something ridiculous like that, because they weren't scoring bangers.
It's true.
Devil's advocate, if the bangers stop going in, do they go revert to having a few games in a row where they don't score?
Well, this is the thing. It's like, if they are playing like they're currently playing and not scoring those worldies, there's actually not many chances that are being created that are higher volume chances that you'd expect to walk. Like Watkins has barely scored this season.
Exactly.
And a lot of the reason is because they're not creating him those sort of chances. You do definitely worry about that. And it like I said, Villa are the kind of it wouldn't surprise me if they leapfrogged Arsenal over the next month and they carried on like this and Rodgers continued being the best player in the league. It also wouldn't surprise me if they won on a 5-game winless streak at this point. Like, it wouldn't. And that's not an insult to Aston Villa. If Villa finish in the top 4, that would be an excellent season for them, given what happened to them last summer. If they got Champions League football, it would be an unbelievable season.
I think you said it the other week, but like they're doing this run without the signings.
Yeah, facts. I mean, Harvey Elliott's going to be sent back in January. He's not played a minute for them, really, in the Prem. Gasson's not really hit the ground running. He's now gone to
Sancho's not doing a lot.
Sancho's done nothing. Their other signings were Lindelof, who I thought actually did all right against United. But again, he's not a needle mover, is he, really, for Villa? So you just kind of got to applaud them and go, it's amazing right now. Enjoy it. It's unreal. You're in a title race.
They're a fun watch as well.
And if it continues, then fair enough.
Yeah,
no one
that
can say
is
anything.
the other thing. Is they're now 7 points clear of you in third. I think that is, at a base level, you're like, okay, we've got a huge cushion for Champions League football now. If we can go on a title run, unbelievable. But you take that. If you, I tell you what, 5 games in, if you said to a Villa fan by Christmas you're going to be in third, 7 points clear of fourth, they'd have absolutely ripped your hands off.
They'd have laughed at you.
Yeah,
they would have.
Yeah, they probably would have.
And a lot of their... I mean, it's like the whole problem I have with this is that I got criticised for saying they were stale. All the comments were agreeing with me on the video that I said that. All the comments were saying, we've been really poor at the moment.
Yeah.
Obviously, there's some who
I think
didn't want to
are
hear
you not aware
it.
that you're not allowed to change your opinion based on what changes?
It's absolutely crazy. And it's like, you still get held to account by these Villa fans for what you said. And it's like, were you not massively criticising your team for not scoring in 5 games? Were you not unhappy with that? Were you pretending like you were sat there whilst you were doing that and going, no, guys, we are brilliant and we are going to go on a 10-game. We are going to go on a 10-game winning streak. Like, actually, piss off. That's obviously not what they were saying. It's a joke, but at least I'm not rattled about it.
Yeah,
no, you seem fine.
It's just the whole football thing at the moment is not really pleasing me. But I know.
Well, let's talk about Arsenal winning just to cheer you up. Solid win, 1-0.
Yeah,
was stressful. I felt stressed in the game, and then I watched it back, and I was like, actually, I probably shouldn't have been. I think PTSD of previous games where we had dropped late points.
You should have dropped points.
We shouldn't have dropped
Barry
points.
should have had a penalty. Should have been 1-0.
No, was that the Saliba one?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I'm still torn on that.
It's a
I think we
penalty.
probably got away with one, but
I think that the example you used is fair of Jesus not getting given one at Villa, and that was almost more of a pen. But that to me is a pen. Saliba has gone to boot the ball away, and he has kicked Barry.
There's a couple of things. So one,
here we go. Explanation FC.
No, but the contact isn't actually that huge. Saliba's foot actually brushes off the side of Barry's.
I'd like
and
to
Barry puts his foot back down.
him.
He puts his foot back down. Then it's like his brain goes, "Oh wait, I just got kicked. Let me go down." And then he throws himself to the floor.
I'd like to know though, but
It hurt him.
Everton
He
are
got
one.
kicked.
Everton, let's say another word. Everton win 1-0. That happens at the other end. Do you think that should be a penalty?
It's tears on the timeline.
100%.
Like obviously.
Exactly.
But
that's
then-
the easiest.
and I'd make a
At least
video
you're
going,
honest,
"That's a
mate.
penalty," and everyone would be going, "No, he dived. No, he made the
But that doesn't matter.
No, he didn't
That
even
means you
control the
thought it
ball."
was a
Nah,
penalty.
I'd have said it was a
That's what I mean.
penalty.
No, I've said consistently.
That's the other way
I'm
around.
saying I
It's
can
also a
understand why it
pen.
wasn't given. I'm saying I think we probably got away with one.
Did you cry about the Jesus one?
Yeah, massively. And I actually went back to the video and I read through all of the comments and everyone said, never a penalty, not enough contact, yada, yada, yada. So this is what I'm saying.
I think a lot of that is to wind you up, though. Like, obviously, TikTok comments.
Well, yeah, that's why I can't engage in football conversation.
He's
Makes
above
it very
it now.
difficult. It's difficult.
Oh, look, it's not something to cry about massively.
From what I
thought
saw,
it was a
Everton
penalty.
did nothing. It's just
No,
that
they
looked like a
literally
penalty.
nothing.
Yeah.
Jake O'Brien giving away his penalty, like,
That was
what
madness.
on earth?
I've never seen that before in my life.
There's something in the water in Mersey at the moment because Van Dijk's done that.
But even
now,
Van
and he's done-
Dijk did it with one arm, which I still don't know why his arm was up there. But Jacob Brown jumped with 2 arms up in the air, which isn't even useful in terms of jumping with both your hands up in the air, and it was just, and then he acted like he was completely stunned by the fact that he'd given away a penalty.
I think that's one of those ones where
you've just virtually caught the ball.
I think that is one of those moments that you've just had like a complete brain lapse, and it's like sinking. You go, why have I done that?
Yeah.
What has gone on there?
And it was also weird because weirdly none of the Arsenal players massively appealed for it either. A couple of them appealed for the corner,
that was weird. Yeah.
But I'm almost like, did the Arsenal players themselves seem to just be like, well, surely I didn't
just
the
see him do that. Yeah.
It was weird, but it helped us out. Gyökeres steps up, rifled at home. Do you know one thing
that was
that's
a make-a-wish and a half?
He was so bad the rest of the game.
You've literally said the exact thing I was about to bring up because you are football Twitter. Everyone's saying it's a make-a-wish penalty. Everyone's saying, they've given it to... He's our best penalty taker.
Isn't Saka a penalty taker?
Well, no, Saka has taken a couple of them this season.
No, but Saka is your penalty taker.
Sorry.
João Pedro's good at pens, but Palmer takes our penalties.
Were you nervous with Gyökeres stepping up?
I was nervous in the sense that if he missed, I knew it was going to be absolute carnage. But I genuinely thought he would score.
So you were nervous about him?
No, but it was like, it felt like such a pressurised penalty for him. So I was like, the nerve was more out of empathy for what he was going to have to deal with.
I hate the way he took it.
I love the way he took it. That's how he takes all of his penalties.
In general,
if Pickford gets a hand to it, Pickford ends up in the back of the net with it.
I think that's a bad way to take penalties.
I actually think putting your foot for it is smart.
Okay, he scored 36 out of 40 career penalties.
Fair play against Plumbers in Portugal. I think that the way
But he scored 2 in the Premier League already.
The best way that I've ever seen anyone take penalties is Harry Kane, where you knew exactly where he was going.
He's gone.
I remember France in the World Cup where he had that second penalty to keep us in the game.
Almost one.
He found that ball.
He's taken nearly 70 career penalties, and I think he's got like 90-something percentage rate. But like knowing where you're putting it and whipping it with power or placing it with power,
I think being able to do both is just your ideal.
Gyökeres did just. I mean, I'm being really nitpicky here, and it's pointless. But Gyökeres did just walk up and smash it, and
but he's done that consistently enough to know it works.
Yeah, fair enough. Look, he scored it. You can't really criticise him.
It was a brilliant penalty, and it showed that he's still confident as well.
I don't know. When I saw that ball that Raya played to, I don't think he looks that confident. He was like standing on it. It's like Bambi on ice. It was terrible.
Do you know who I don't think was good? Zubimendi.
Yeah,
he's been pretty shit for a while.
He looked a bit tired the last month because I was really impressed with it. The first few months of the season. I thought he was a big part of why Arsenal controlling so many games.
He looked a lot more uncomfortable on the ball, I thought, and it was like weird. I thought there were a couple of times where he had a lot of time, like looked panicked, and I was like, that's not.
Maybe people have worked out a little bit in terms of maybe just pressing a bit better. Maybe he had a little bit more time on the ball first few months of the season.
Yeah, I also think he's looked shakier since Gabriel's been out, and I think Gabriel is so like naturally like he makes the option again and again and again so naturally. Whereas with Hincapié is another player that feels very like on edge. Like someone described Hincapié, it was like it's like watching a dog drive a car really well. You're like he's driving the car really well, so there's no reason to be worried. But it's also a dog driving a car, so I'm on edge. And Hincapié is a bit like that. That was the best analogy I've heard of it.
That's some analogy, by the way.
I feel like Zubimendi is suffering a little bit because of that, but I also do just think he's looked fatigued, and he has because he's made a few mistakes.
Should have had some minutes at some point, sort of thing as well.
Norgaard.
Does he exist?
Is he just an idea?
The Everton game was another game where I'm like, okay. Yeah. Annoyingly, we've got into the situation where we're 1-0 up going into the final few minutes. Bring on Christian Norgaard.
Yeah, like what's he there for?
He's taller than Zubimendi. All they're doing is launching it into the box at this point. Norgaard is several inches taller than Zubimendi, better in the air than Zubimendi, more physical than Zubimendi.
Zubimendi didn't have a great game.
Yeah,
much fresher.
And fresher. Yeah. And I'm like, just bring him on.
This is what we bought him for.
I don't know.
Arteta does like running his players into the ground.
I ain't the gaffer. But ultimately, it was another win. So
yeah, fair play.
To be fair,
Trossard missed a big chance to make it
should have
too
made
as
it too.
Yeah.
I saw loads about this cutback from Timber, and I was like, I thought Saka was a good option there.
Gyökeres was free.
Yeah, but Saka, if he'd known he had more time, you should score there anyway.
But also, people said if he knew he had more time, like he just kind of scuffed it.
He dawdled.
He took a touch, and like
no, he didn't take a touch.
No.
Did he not take a touch?
He hits it first time with his right foot.
Yeah.
If he takes a touch onto his left, it's a goal. but he goes first time with his right because he thinks he's not got enough time.
Yeah.
But ultimately, I still do think Timber should have just fizzed that straight across and Gyökeres had a tap in.
Yeah.
So, but again,
he was worried he'd stand on the ball though or something. Like they don't trust him. They
Actually,
don't like. I know
it's
because
so
part of that
funny.
is when people say like, "Oh, he's not getting the chances of getting the position." I don't think the players rate him.
Well,
I think
we
they-
can't
no,
do
just
more,
it's
we
just
can't
that they're
do
not
more
used to
Gyökeres
it.
chat.
No, it's they're not used to it because generally speaking, previously Havertz never makes that strikers run. Jesus never makes that strikers run. You are pulling it back to Saka as the
But
best
I
option.
feel like Havertz got chances. He just
We've
wasn't
done-
He did,
playing
but
well.
not in that situation.
No, I know.
We've done this chat.
We've done
Yeah,
that.
yeah.
Ultimately, yeah, I'll just take a win away at Everton. It's not the
No,
same
got
as
the
away
job
at Goodison anymore. By the way, don't feel like Hill Dickinson's got the same vibe as Goodison at all.
No, it doesn't.
Everton
No,
fans
we beat them
seem
3-0
pretty
and it was
quiet.
comfy. It was a nice flashy stadium. So,
But yeah, City won comfortably, smashed West Ham. West Ham are absolutely diabolical.
yeah.
They've got group robots now, haven't they, City?
Yeah, Cherky, that little touch for the little
What,
sort of
the
lap
little
of
double-
Kettering
yeah,
bit.
yeah,
Oh
Phil.
my God, he is a disgustingly good footballer. I absolutely love
They're
him.
ticking
But
along nicely, even without Doku. They're putting the
Yeah.
points in the bag.
That
I know it's West
said,
Ham, but
Put the
West
points in the
Ham,
bag.
they're in trouble. We're going to talk in a little bit about the relegation battle,
Yeah.
but that could stop being a relegation battle and very quickly become a wow. 3 teams are actually just gone.
Yeah.
But yeah, the
Scary
defending
hours.
for both of the Haaland goals.
To allow
so
him
sloppy.
to get to the rebound of his own
Yes.
shot, I was just like, what
Yeah.
are we
It's
doing here?
poor, it's
Like,
poor, but it's another
so
win
bad.
for City. 7 wins in a row for them.
Yeah.
They've gone through this period that it feels like they get this period a lot at this time of year, where it's kind of every game they're just at home against a relegation.
And they
fog
play
team.
at 3 p.m.
And they
every
play at
game.
3 p.m. and it's like, oh, they've won
You are
again.
right. It does feel like that. They just kind of like, you don't even think about them for 3
Yeah.
weeks. It's like, oh, they won 3-0
Yeah.
at 3 p.m.
yeah, you feel like I haven't
Yeah.
watched City
Yeah,
in
yeah,
ages.
Yeah, and then
Haaland
suddenly,
scores 2 every
suddenly you
game.
check
Yeah.
back in and they're like 10 games, 10 wins.
Yeah,
and you're like,
yeah.
oh, okay. But they do have a much tougher run of games coming up. So
Yeah, which will be fun to
Hopefully
watch, I think. I'm ready to watch City in a big game again.
Yeah,
Like I haven't
we've
for a
got
while,
January
but-
4th
there you
away.
go.
That'd
Do
be
us a
good.
favour.
Well, your boys at the weekend.
Yeah.
Little 2-2 draw away at Newcastle.
2 different Chelsea teams.
Very unconvincing, I thought.
First half diabolical, like absolutely.
Voldemort should have had a
awful.
hat-trick at least.
Yeah.
Yeah, although shout. I don't know what happened, but apparently there was like the technology they were using for the offsides didn't work, so they had to do
Samuel
lines.
also wasn't working.
Yeah,
So- and
for
that was a
the
tight
Wolves,
one.
you could see that the back leg was playing him on quite clearly, and they took about 4 minutes with it.
Yeah.
Like, it's ridiculous.
Yeah, the frustration wasn't that it might have
No,
been
it looked-
onside. The
'cause it
frustration was
looked-
just that it took
It
ages.
looked on when it happened. When they were taking their time, you start thinking,
Yeah,
well,
it's
they're
like,
taking their
oh.
time with it. So
I
maybe
thought,
it's.
as soon as he scored, I was like, offside.
Oh, I thought on.
But then-
but obviously,
really, yeah.
the goals are our end, so you can kind of see it. I thought
Yeah,
I
you're
was
right
like,
on top of
whoever's
it.
playing
Yeah,
on.
I just think the way he ran, obviously the back leg, you always get those when a player's sort of running through the last line, back legs and shoulders and stuff. But yeah, I thought,
I thought they were more up for it, but I actually thought. Do you know what makes a big difference? That people, this is what people don't see. When I think Enzo Fernandez gets a lot of criticism as how fluid we
Yeah,
can
he
be.
became a lot better
We
when he
missed
got
him
on.
in that first half.
Yeah,
we
yeah.
missed him in that. Like
he brings control, doesn't he? And
yeah,
he's-
like don't get me wrong, Fofana's being stupid losing the ball in that
Yeah.
early doors. Like keep the crowd nice and quiet. It's
Yeah.
12:30 Saturday. It's a nice schedule to play Newcastle. Really, they got players out, but that was poor. However, I did think we also, in terms of getting the ball forward, we missed Enzo. We missed Enzo that first half. and
It was
second
just
half
the
much
Reece
better.
James moment of magic, really. Whips that free kick in 3 minutes after half
boy.
time. All of a sudden, you're back in the game straight away, which is
Yeah.
huge. Like, and that's. As I kind of realised when I watched Reece James play, I'm like, we actually just have nobody even close to him.
To be fair, no
And
one
it's
has anyone close to him. He's
They
just,
do.
he's
Well,
just
I mean,
the best.
I'm sorry, he's not the best player in the world
Okay.
by a considerable distance.
I thought about this.
That is a
me and Berman
nonsense
talking
comment.
about this at the ground. I think he just is. I think he's just the best at everything he does.
I say, so
I
two
honestly
Chelsea
do.
fans sat there going, he's the best player in the world
honestly,
by a
no,
mile.
I
Yeah,
just,
he's the best player.
are you not mind
enough, I
blown?
agree with you.
Are you not mind blown by what he does? Like in terms of right, he'll play midfield there, but then he goes right back. He makes that tackle on Barnes. Like he is just so.
He is
good
undoubtedly
at
one of the
football.
best players in the league.
Yeah,
but there
world,
are players that are
world.
close to him, if not better than him as well.
Nah.
Haaland's not decisive every week.
Okay, no,
is he?
Haaland's sick, but is it, I don't know. Just in terms of like an all-round
Haaland is sick.
an all-round footballer. If you pick any footballer in world football,
Well, yeah,
to play every
you're
position,
doing,
you
you're
are
doing
picking
the,
Reece James.
you're
That's
doing
what
the,
I mean.
I'd play him in every position in the world.
Yeah.
He'd be the
I
best
think he could.
thing.
I just look
By
at
the
him
way, I
like,
think
I
this is
wish
not-
we just
I'm
had
not saying
11 of
you're
him.
wrong.
No,
I'm not saying you're
nor am
wrong,
I.
Yeah.
and it's
No,
a silly
yeah.
argument because we both
Yeah.
really rate him.
And it's also just a stupid thing to say because football isn't played. I'd rather
No, I'm
have
not
the
saying
most
it is.
elite
I'd rather have a
left winger
special-
playing a
yeah,
left
yeah.
wing
I agree.
than a
No, I
Reece
agree.
James.
I agree. I just find it so fascinating with him, especially after all the injuries midfielders he's had where I'm like, this guy is so good.
No, he's great.
Like, so
It's not that
good.
fascinating, mate. He's just a really good footballer.
It is.
Like,
No, it is. 'Cause
great
there's not that-
player is great.
Yeah, there's not that many about where I just look at someone like that where I just think, what is your weakness?
he's one of the most complete players.
That's
for
what
sure.
I mean. Yeah, and I think that
doesn't make him
that's rare. That's very rare to have because you can't name anyone else like him where you go, who's the most just good at everything.
There are players
None. Yeah,
close
there you
to
go.
him in that regard, but he's probably the best. I mean,
Like Jude, maybe.
Anyway,
You know what I mean? No, but
really
that's true.
good free kick.
I love watching him. But
He
yeah,
was so bad again, Garnacho. Oh my god, that guy stinks.
Garnacho-
I will never rate him.
just
I'm
can't
sorry.
finish.
I was going to say the fascinating thing
I
with
gassed
Garnacho
him
is
up after that Cardiff game as well.
it's not just the finishing with him. He gets
Why?
the thing.
He did a lot of running.
The problem is
my
with
God.
some of our wingers like won't get in the positions to have those chances. That's what Garnacho still. He's a good magnet
Yeah,
for chances.
that's what I said.
But when he does this with dribbling as well, the same two things. I'll
He's
explain.
terrible 1v1 dribbler, I think.
Well, basically,
He
you know
can
how
shift
a good,
it.
a
He
good
can
winger,
shift it well.
a good winger like with Hazard, right, watches what the defender does, and he goes, okay, he looks like he's showing me on the outside or inside. I'll go the other way, or I'll sell him the other way. Right. Garnacho goes in his head, I'm going left.
Yeah,
Do you know what I mean? He like pre-determines.
That's the thing.
And the same
Martinelli.
with his shooting.
Martinelli,
Yeah, and with his shooting, he doesn't go, I'm going to put it bottom right or put it. He goes, I'll put my foot through the ball and it will end up where it ends up. That's
Bottom
kind
line,
of how I feel with him.
you're talking about intelligence. Like he's not an intelligent footballer.
Yeah.
He is a footballer that plays on instinct because he's fast. He's got decent both foot.
And he backs himself to do it, which I prefer to not being confident and
that
take your
kind
man
of thing.
on.
I always think when people say, "Oh, that kind of you like football IQ is just you have it or you don't." Like I do think that can be worked on. He becomes. I think Jeremy Doku is a great, and Garnacho was not close to the ability of Doku, but Doku is a player that I think in the last year or so has really become better at making the correct decisions, slowing himself down.
Agreed.
Garnacho, because he can go both ways. He's got a decent step over in him. He's got decent ball striking. He should be able to slow himself down.
He needs to
more.
watch what defenders do more. I just think, honestly, I watch him and you can tell he's already gone, I'm head down there, head down. Like,
He
you've got
needs
to have
to
eyes
not.
up
He
when you
needs to
watch,
just
like, the
not
top.
make their decision for them as well. Like he's so just like I'm going to shift it down the line.
Yeah,
They're trying to
yeah.
get across in. Like
He just doesn't play
But
the probability shot either.
Yeah, I always thought Neto underhit quite a few passes on the break and stuff like that. Like,
It frustrates him.
the wingers are a bit frustrating for me. Yeah,
You know when he's trying to, he's got that finish that he keeps trying to do, which is near post, top corner. It's like to pull that off. You're aiming for such a small part of the goal, and if you get it slightly wrong, you're blazing.
But I just get the impression he's not aiming. It's just like if I just make enough contact.
But that was the thing against Cardiff. His finishes against Cardiff.
Yeah,
one of them a
yeah,
deft
yeah,
little
yeah.
dink with his left foot. One of them a finesse with his right foot. I was like, oh, so he can finish.
Yeah.
He's just choosing to absolutely try and blast it into that top. Yeah.
No, he's a
I
funny
don't
one.
know.
But I thought João Pedro was brilliant for that goal. And shut
Yeah.
up.
Chow just. I don't. Why does he
But
get so
he's
tight to
flicked
João
that.
Pedro?
Doesn't need to,
Like
just
he
stand
needs to
off
just
him.
stand off him. See what João Pedro does. Allow João Pedro to obviously get his head on the ball, slips over. It is terrible
I
piece
thought
of
that-
defending for somebody who's
yeah.
been generally very good for
But I
Newcastle.
also questioned why at 2-1 up, where they were beginning to be under a little bit of pressure, Newcastle have left an
Yeah.
insane 1v1
Yeah,
of
yeah,
João
yeah.
and
Yeah.
João Pedro. Like you might back João to deal with João Pedro
First
in
name
that
basis, are we?
situation.
Oh, sorry, you're saying Chow, not
Chow,
Zhao.
not
I thought you were saying
Zhao.
Zhao. Yeah.
Chow,
Chow,
Chow.
Chow.
First name basis with the
João,
boy.
João. No, but like you might back him, but he could just slip, which is what he did. Like
Yeah.
ultimately, he gets too
Yeah.
close,
But he
slips.
slipped via being wrong-footed.
also-
It was a great turn.
Do you
Great
not?
finish as
Do you
well.
not just feel as though, right? I know that he didn't necessarily make a big mistake. Aaron Ramsdale just lacks so much presence in goal. You know when João
Yeah,
Pedro
he's
went through
rubbish.
one-on-one, I was like, "There's no way." he's
Yeah, I
saving
knew
it.
we'd score. As
Mine
soon
was
as,
another free kick.
as soon as Pedro was
Yeah,
running
free
through.
kick as well. It was like, I know it's hit the
Yeah.
post and gone in. It's got it wasn't the most powerful free kick. He didn't have loads. Like he had a bit of whip, but not loads of whip. Ramsdale's just nowhere near it. It's like, why are you nowhere near that? I want my goalkeeper saving a free kick from that position out, unless it's been knuckled and flies into the top corner pretty much every single time.
Or arguably a left around the wall.
Yeah.
Because you're more blindside. You know what I mean? You're more blindsided.
Yeah, it was just so
I
weird.
get
I
what
just
you're
feel
saying.
like he just lacks so much presence in goal. And even like Nick Pope doesn't concede that free kick. He might cost you with his feet, and he might cost you with coming and claiming crosses and having these bozo moments. But Ramsdale is going to cost you.
I tell you who
no
doesn't
presence
concede
in
that free
goal.
kick at the moment is Bob. No. The first goal. No, the first goal that we
save.
concede, the save, like
It's unreal.
that. I don't know what has happened to him. But obviously he pulled ahead of Wirtz at the weekend
Yeah.
with an assist, and Wirtz levelled it up with one. But like Bob's operating on a really like,
he
top
is.
keeper level. It's
He
weird
is.
to see, like, especially because I'm someone who's been so critical.
Honestly,
of him.
fair play to you. I mean, look, that's kind of title race and top four done.